Hello my friends. Today I just first want to start with a little confession. I do not do mini albums, so that's just my own personal choice. Nothing ever seems to fit, and I never have a place to store them, and I wouldn't know what I would do with them. So anyway, I don't do mini albums, but I do mini notebooks. So I got this idea from Swiss Girl Designs, and I'll put a link to her video below. But this is a nice way to use some scratch paper. So this was paper that I've had from the office where they were messed up prints or old emails where only you had prints on the top and the rest of the paper was blank. So I just recycled all that paper and I just cut them in half, and whatever paper I had I just put it in this notebook. And you can see a few have a little bit of prints on it, but this is just like a little sketchbook. So I just wanted to show you today how to make this super easy notebook, and it's so cute. And it is easy to make. So let's get started. So first all you need is to cut some copy paper, scratch paper, to whatever size you want. So again, this is a standard card size because I took an 8.5 by 11 paper and just cut it in half. And then I just folded them in half. And then if it bothers you, you may want to take a blade and then cut these edges so that they're all nice and straight. But that's a personal preference if you worry about that or not. I tried a little bit. I didn't have a blade, so I just kind of eyeballed it a little bit. The main thing is that this should be shorter than your designer paper when folded in half. And so depending on how many sheets you have, will determine how well your designer paper covers the edges. So you can see mine's a little bit short, so I may trim that later, but I'm not going to worry about it at this time. So my designer paper, let's see, I cut it to, it's 6 by 8.5 is what my designer paper is, and this is just some designer paper from Stampin' Up! So just to give it a little book feel, I'm going to use my corner chomper, and I'm just going to use the 1/4 inch quarter rounder, and I'm just going to round the two outside corners just to give it a softer look. And depending on what you plan on doing with these notebooks, if you're going to carry it around in your purse or it's going to be kind of beaten up a little bit, keep it on one layer. The more little embellishments and layers you have, the more likely it's going to get caught. So mine is going to be just one layer. I'm going to stamp in everything directly on the cover. So just a little side note there. And then I'm going to take my paper and I'm just going to take a few and use my crocodile. First I'm just going to measure on my grid about 1/2 inch in. Just put a little mark or circle or something. And then keep it folded and your crocodile will cut through it. So again, personal preference if you want to use the 1/8 inch or the 3/16. I use the 3/16 hole just so that it's easier to thread the twine through it. And you're going to punch your hole slightly off of the edge so that it looks like a bite mark, like that. So I'm going to do that on both sides here. Let me do the next one. And this crocodile cuts right through all this paper pretty easily. I have quite a few folded sheets here. Okay, so now this is my template, so I'm going to take my next few sheets. Since I don't like to measure, I'm just going to lay them in here. And just take my pencil, line them up, mark it again, just my lazy way so I don't have to measure it again. And then take them out and do the same thing. Sorry about my hands there. Just punch it. And it doesn't have to be exact because this is a big enough hole. It gives you a little bit of tolerance there. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same for my cover. I'm just going to take one sheet, put it in my cover, and then line it up. So you can see how my cover is slightly bigger than my paper, which is what you want. And then I'm going to just mark along the fold where I want to punch my holes. So I'm going to put it about there and there. Do the same thing, just punch a hole. And that is it. And now all you need to do is get some twine and thread it through and tie a knot. So that's all I'm going to do. Stack it up, put it in the book. Just make sure you line up your holes, and then just thread this through. And because my holes are large, I don't need a needle. So see, it just goes right through, which is what I like. I'm just going to go around a couple times. So if you have baker's twine, that would work. This is some hemp twine, so it's pretty thick and sturdy. If you want to use ribbon, you can, but again, just depends on how durable you want your book to be, what you're going to be using it for, and if it's going to be beaten up a little bit or carried around a lot. And then just tie a little bow here, or not actually. So just kind of pull it so this isn't loose here, and then I'm just going to tie it in a knot. Very, very simple. And these make great gifts for scrapbookers, card makers, because they can be little sketchbooks that they carry around. Instead of an album, it's a little notebook. And then just trim those off. And there's your book. Very, very simple. I really like that. So now I'm just going to decorate the top. So I'm just going to stamp directly on this, like I said, to keep it simple. I already have the stamps pre-mounted on my blocks just to save time. And so this is one benefit to having multiple blocks. It just makes it easy to have them all laid out and then ready to go. So I'm just going to use black Stays On ink. Ink up this branch. I think my Stays On is drying out a little bit. So hopefully it'll last. Okay, so now I got these two bird cages. I put them, they're two separate stamps, but I put them both on one block just to save time. And so that way too, they're exactly where I want it, and I just need to stamp once. Okay, then I have my little sentiment here, says moments. Ooh, my Stays On ink is getting dry. And then I'm going to use some brown chocolate chip ink. Okay, there we go, it's nice and dark. And then I'm going to just for a little, break up some of this blue. I'm going to paper piece, so I'm going to stamp these bird cages again on some white cardstock. Okay, so there's my stamp, and now I'm going to cut these out. Get some sharp scissors. And just make sure you get the corners and the edges real good so that hopefully it won't get caught on anything, and then just lay it over your original stamped image. Okay, and that finishes the little notebook. See you next time. Bye-bye.